All right. First things first. All right, we're good to go. Welcome in, Pepper. Welcome in. Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's been a while. Been a busy couple of weeks or however long it's been since I said hi to y'all. Busy in the sense that I'm getting my house ready for sale, so lots of cleanup, lots of repairs, sorting through junk. I'll just wait a few minutes to see who shows up. I know this was very short notice that I was going to be doing a live stream. Not too much on my mind, just wanted to hang out with whoever's available. Right now we got Mr. Pepper's available. Say hi to everybody, Pepper. We live in interesting times, do we not? Some of the stuff I've been following as of late has been related to AI and lots of protests, especially down in the States. Lots of chaos up here in Canada with the new government. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. So I just had a few ideas to share. Hey Mike, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good evening. You're up Northern California way? Just for you, yeah. Yeah, I gave real short notice on this, so I don't know if anybody's besides you and me are going to hang out, but Central California. So, are there protests in your area? There's none in my area, that's for sure. Other than the cats. Cats are always protesting. The cats always have a No King's Day around here. My chat is so far away I can't even see it. I went to Santa Cruz. Been to California a couple of times. Can't remember exactly where Santa Cruz is. I just got a simple setup tonight. Again, on the iPhone, I have no media to share. So it's just going to be sharing a few ideas. Free streaming, free thought. A few ideas on music. May as well get right into that. In kind of light of the protests that I'm seeing, or the protests that are ongoing, whether it's, I guess, Gaza has been last several years, going on 3 years now, I guess, or it's in the third year. The anti-ice protests, whatever other miscellaneous protests. Karen Reed, that decision came down today. That could get interesting potentially as far as what people are going to be streaming and sharing their opinions on that. But it struck me musically, and I've been watching Andy Edwards ongoing. He has some interesting things to say about the music industry and how music is produced, and of course the top tens. I don't have any top tens for you upcoming. Um, hey Jaime, welcome in. We've been watching the protests on Clash with Bow or Smurf Watch Transparency. It's sometimes wild. It was really intense, a week and a half ago. That No Kings protest kind of fell flat on its face, for better or for worse. I don't know what's going to come of that. Whether that's going to be ongoing. Things seem to be simmering down in Los Angeles there anyway, unless I'm just not seeing what's all out there. But musically, yeah, it's sort of back in the day, especially the late 60s, early 70s, and even into the 80s, like music was central to uh, having a countercultural message, or even just the sound of protest, even if you want to call it rebellion. I mean, the Creedence Clearwater Revival strains, Fortunate Son through the Vietnam War era, the anti-war protests, some Hendrix, the Doors, others. And, while I was growing up, we had, not that this was definitive, but Twisted Sister was raising your fist to the man and to authority and to your parents. We're not going to take it. Back in that day, you had Frank Zappa and Dee Snider testifying in front of congressional committees, because music actually was the thing under fire for that brief time. You had the moral majority, if you want to call it. I forget the movement exactly, but it was like Tipper Gore, and they were really against offensive lyrics and wanting to uh, keep the children protected from bad messaging. But you look and fast forward to today, another example, that really, it wasn't so much a protest song, but almost like an era defining song was, Welcome to the Jungle. When Guns N' Roses sprung onto the scene, they kind of just hit the ground running with that debut album. And there are others. Like, I'm not going to give an extensive rundown of all the protest songs, but fast forward to today, where are the songs that are defining what's going on, other than the meme songs or the remixes, which are hilarious, by the way. But it's like there's no artists out there that are producing anything to rally a nation, to gather a nation together, like to unite people. And that music of old, yeah. Well, I mean, some of that stuff, so it's like 50, 60, 70 years old. The Beatles were, a revolutionary sound. Uh, you want to have a revolution, right? And I just don't hear that in this modern era. And so it just seems like there's an artistic void. And this seems like AI is going to exacerbate that, because AI is going to create music personalized to you, the individual end user. We're not there yet, but people are experimenting with AI music. I personally have not delved into that. I don't particularly like it. Uh, just the general trend of it, but yeah, there's like this vacuum culturally when it comes to music defining our era. Through Los Angeles riots of '92, uh, the race riots there, rap really came on the scene. And so, like, are the Taylor Swifts and Katy Perry's and the Justin Bieber's is up to the task? Like, who are the big names out there that are producing an artistic message that resonates kind of universally, that either unites or grabs the attention of the nation? I just don't see it. Maybe you guys have some examples that I'm not aware of, but it just seems like should we take out Iran nukes or not? I'm generally don't care. Maybe that's a bad answer. I I said in a previous live, I think like everything's become politicized, and part of the tactic there is to get us to choose a side. So I I don't really have an opinion. Uh, the I have a little bit of background knowledge on the situation. I mean, Israel's been saying we have to take away Iran's ability to make nuclear weapons for the last 50 years, give or take. Quantum computing on top of AI music, yeah, the potential there is pretty wild. But a lot of the sound that contains any kind of rhythm, melody, it's not even, it doesn't even contain harmony, are these kind of mindless chants you see at these protests, no more ice, no no more ice in LA. And it just it sounds icky to me, for lack of a technical musical term. Icky music. Is that proper music? I don't know, but it's like there's no sound that's going forth across the land, and we had that in the past, and I think that was a benefit. I I could be way off here. Maybe it did more harm than good, or created a false sense of unity. But you talk to people our age or older, beyond the say the millennials, like they had some decent music they were following in the '90s, but there's not a lot going on in the last, I want to say, 30 years that I don't know. Maybe in the early 2000s there was some rallying sounds. I wasn't listening to a lot of mainstream music at that time. I was listening to a lot of gospel music and kind of Christian music, which has some had some interesting musicality. The stuff I was listening to, but it just seems like that's missing from the equation. It's missing from the scene, and so I don't know. I wasn't there for the Vietnam protests or a lot of that really hippy dippy stuff, but there were songs of rebellion that helped mobilize people, or at least focus them, where they could latch onto something, something to hold on to. And just I miss the good old days when artists had something to say, and they were able to do it through music. And Andy Edwards has commented on this. My belief is that uh, is similar to Andy's is that there's the art form itself is essential. It's a place where we negotiate the morality of our culture, and there's just none of that present from my standpoint. Uh, Mind you, I don't listen to a lot of radio, so I don't know what's popular on the radio, but I I can't name a song that would would say be a unifying song or a unifying voice in our current situation here, and I, we're probably not going to. Instead, we get the remixes and the meme cuts and the parody songs and they're all quite delightfully funny, but uh, it doesn't cross generations. It doesn't cross cultures. It's not specifically countercultural. It's not sending a message to the government that they're going to take seriously, or whoever the art is directed towards. So making a song about Iran and Israel, or making a song about Trump or the White House, or Mark Carney and our Canadian Parliament, it's just we need a sound to ring out across the land. And I mean, I'm not the one that's going to be able to provide that. Excuse me. But in any case, yeah, the forest fires have died down up here in Manitoba, as apparent by the lack of smoke. But I still got a bit of a hoarseness. We did get some good rain over the last week at times, and they're actually expecting some more tonight. So got a little bit of a breeze. I hope it's not affecting my microphone. And yeah, so it's ice sucks, but so is open borders. Like there's the reality is nations need borders, right? And it's that problem action solution Hegelian dialectic is let people in and then treat them horribly to get them out and rally support for one side or the other, whether to keep them or deport them. And that's not the rational common sense approach that you or I would necessarily have. So there's a frustration there, and that our politicians seem intent on frustrating, enraging, stoking the fire, poking the bear. It's really wild. Just the political landscape, and I don't want to get entirely political here, but as I did mention before, like pretty much everything is politicized. Whether you know music has been politicized in a way to create an agenda for, say, the trans movement or what have you. Artists jump on board or have opinions. They endorse this candidate or the next, and I'm with Hillary. I'm with Kamala, or you know, or the Trumpites. Like, it doesn't matter who you endorse. They're all going to abuse us. Like that's the real shit there. I hope you're all getting that. Um, so yeah, it's sort of you and I in a position of authority. Like, we would be making clearly different decisions just by the reactions you see from people. Um, we don't want families harmed as a result of their status or their documentation or lack thereof. Like, it's just a nonsensical approach, and that's par for the course. And I have not gone golfing yet this year. It looks like that may just be a fantasy, but I do think about it. So I don't know if there's any golfers in the crowd. But yeah, reason I haven't been around much is there's not a lot really going on in my mind that's prompting me to create content. So I want to speak about that for a little bit. Interesting phenomenon. I haven't. I think it's been at least a week and a half since I did a live. I think there was a Friday night live I did after Savannah Bananas ball game, which I love that banana ball. That that is amazing. I'm not a professional sports fan, but that is pure sports entertainment. So so that's some how do you call it? A bit of an indulgence watching that as sports. The new digs, I'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, there it seems I don't know if Andy Edwards is getting more viewers or views, but in the last 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, people still keep going back to that video, my reaction to Andy Edwards, which I did really early on this channel. It's in the music mentality playlist. And the unexpected result of just doing that video caused an influx of viewers to subscribe as a result of really that one video. Like it's still getting. I was looking at my analytics today. It's still got like 200 views in the last couple of days or something. It's I think over 3,000 views, which is a lot for my videos. And then people are subscribing and commenting. So a lot of them are from the UK, which is wonderful. You're all welcome here, but totally unexpected consequence, unintended, totally unanticipated, and so I was kind of doing this experiment. I'm just gonna sit here because even a week and a half ago, I was for the longest time I was at 238, 239, 240 subscribers, and it would go up and down by one. And it was like that for almost a month. And it didn't matter if how much content I was putting out. So I'm not looking for subscribers or views. I'm just trying to figure out how this YouTube works. You know, whether the algorithm is helping me or what. And so like there was no movement on the subscribers. And then I did that one video, and we kind of mentioned where I went up to uh, it jumped by 5 subscribers overnight or something, and that was like, wow, that's huge. But since that last video a week and a half ago, I've gotten 50 subscribers. Like what? And I haven't put out anything for you guys, and so people are just finding the older videos, checking it out, and hopping on board. So I'm sort of like, how how do you just sit back and do nothing and the channel grows? Like not by viewers. I guess another milestone recently in the last week, I went over 1,000 hours of viewed content, so that's kind of neat. Uh, but yeah, just kind of trying to figure out the mystery of YouTube, like because the formula is you got to be pumping out the content, making like Andy Edwards doing the daily videos. I may as well just rename this the Andy Edwards Jr. channel or something with all the mentions he gets. But I found that really fascinating. Like how did my subscribers jump? Like I'm not doing anything to make that happen. So and looking back on it now, like that video was pretty primitive. I was fairly comfortable in front of the camera, but it wasn't like super compelling. Like it was good. I'm happy with it. I'm pleased with it. I like this interactive stuff and some of this kind of free thought, free association that we could do on the live streams and interactivity with people in the chat, and that's there's something really connective there. But yeah, I haven't had any concepts for, standalone videos or lists or things that are just itching on my brain to get out. Partly because I've been preoccupied with this house thing. We've been doing a little bit of work at the new digs, but it's slow going there, and that's almost a good thing because the plan there, we started talking way back at the beginning of April that we were going to launch this, and we had plans, and uh, kind of a month went by and there was just silence where I was just sitting around here making YouTube videos, going about my business, preparing to prepare for selling the house, just getting into the right mental space and clearing stuff out or rearranging, the deck chairs on the Titanic kind of thing. But uh, sorry about the little burp there. Someone actually commented on a video. They complimented me on burping on camera, so that I gave them an appreciative like in return. So I like to respond to pretty much all comments, although I don't respond to Mike's. Delusions me with multiple links. So I think I did check out a few of those ones you sent in the last little while. Uh, a viewer out of left field commented on a band they're following called the Lemon Twigs out of New York. So I did look at. I just searched on YouTube for their channel, or I just did YouTube search for the Lemon Twigs, and it's a band that started in 2016. They're kind of folksy, poppy, very reminiscent of the Beatles. And I just viewed the one video, the one song, and it was very Beatlish. Even the video was very reminiscent of stuff you saw from Sergeant Pepper's and Yellow Submarine kind of stuff. Like kind of just quirky, uh, super light comedy. Uh, and so it's fun. They actually got a nice sound, and they're active. They got a few albums out there. So there's my shout out to the Lemon Twigs. I didn't give it a thorough analysis, but it's two brothers. They're multi talented musically, vocally, and they do some touring. And yeah, it's a decent sound. It's countercultural to what we have now, which is very artificial sounding. So it definitely wasn't AI sounding, but. But yeah, I haven't been exploring a lot of music other than just going back to stuff I listen to in my truck, which are my CDs, and a lot of that is just AC/DC and Black Sabbath. And, uh, Graham Parsons, actually, you know what? I don't know if I've seen that documentary, Mike, but uh, after the live stream, I did have a Graham Parsons video come up on the suggested uh, column there. And I think it was actually a Flying Burrito Brothers video. I forget what it was, but it's like, that's really good stuff. I forget it was a live performance, but it was good. I I got to get into that, and I'll check out that documentary when I was never too familiar with Graham Parsons, but he was what in the Birds. Help me out here. I'm just reading his Wikipedia page. What else musically has happened in the last little while? see. Just looking something up. Give me a second. Yeah, very engaging content here. Yeah, we lost Rick Derringer last week, a week and a half ago. That was kind of big news. I didn't watch all the coverage, but I saw lots of people were talking about that one. And rest in peace, Rick. Lots of great rock and roll out of that talent. But yeah, I was totally just kind of sitting back, wondering like what's going on with YouTube. Like how do I sit here, do nothing, and get rewarded for it? That's not my intention either. But I want to be able to make more content. It's just there's nothing going on in my brain that needs to uh, needs to be communicated to you guys directly. So I don't want to just come out here and waste your time. But yeah, it's been a while since we had a chance to gather. So I figured, yeah, it's Wednesday night. It's a nice, pleasant evening. Let's hang out as the sun's going down, and just fill you in on the some of the things going on. But yeah, getting back to the other farm. So yeah, it's a friend of mine and his friend. So it's sort of a friend of a friend owns this property about 45 minutes away from here, and so we had this plan. We were gonna start raising some animals there because it's a like 18 acres on the kind of farmyard, and it's been just sitting more or less inactive for the last 20, 25, maybe longer years. And so my friend's friend, both my friend and friend's friend, they do construction contracting in southern Manitoba, Winnipeg area, all around, and kind of wanted to develop this property to be able to produce food. You know, some chickens, some sheep, maybe some pigs, all of which I was doing here. I also had a milking cow going at pretty much continuously for the last 2.5, 3 years. So I had farm fresh milk at all times, but as the animals have been moving off of this property, we're looking at starting something at that property. So acquiring new animals. But yeah, we sat down early April, and then I didn't hear anything until almost the end of May. Like almost a whole month and a half went by, and like it wasn't dead in the water, but I was kind of like, if I don't hear from these guys in another couple of days, I'm just pulling the plug on my part of like this was not part of the agreement, just sitting around doing nothing. So we've got some movement there. Yeah, my my new digs are going to actually be a camper on site for the summer, just so I could kind of be near all the action with the animals and kind of do some kind of homeless LARPing there for the next few months. But I was kind of as well thinking things would progress faster as far as selling my house. So I haven't even listed it yet. I want to get some painting done and some flooring installed before I even have people look at it. Uh, and so, yeah, I was kind of hoping to have it on the market or at least a for sale by owner situation up uh, by the beginning of June. But I'm not in any fantastic hurry just because things are so far behind on the other property. Like there's less of a sense of urgency to, okay, we gotta give her because there's things that need to be set up in place there that have nothing to do with me. Like needs to set up power to his garage slash shop, which in turn will power uh, my living quarters as well as whatever other infrastructure we're setting up there, whether it's fencing and whatnot, lights. So there's kind of like no panic to sell or to get this on the market. Although just whatever urgency I can create for myself, just to get it out of the way. I don't want to be sitting on this place in December yet. So I'm confident it'll sell pretty quickly. It's it's a nice acreage here, 5 acres, big house. It's just impractical as a bachelor pad, and I'm not interested in having renters indefinitely. So yeah, I had acquired this place through a rent to own agreement, which was kind of right up our alley because we had no money when we first got married to put a lump sum down payment on what we needed, and so we were able to have like this enforced discipline where we were making payments, to stay here as well as uh, into an escrow account for the down payment, and it all fell in place. It worked perfect. We acquired the property, the title on time, as scheduled, and it was a great opportunity, and I was really hoping, uh, situation being different, that I would have the luxury to kind of do that type of deal with the next buyer. Set somebody up, set them up with their animals, transition them from renter to owner. But just the timing of it, or that's a long process, and that's just not conducive to the situation with my wife and I splitting up. So it's just not practical. But the house will be going up for sale very shortly. And thanks for coming in, Mike. Enjoy your dinner. We gotta go from my daughter. All right. Oh, you're getting the we gotta go. All right. Well, enjoy your evening. Enjoy your dinner. And yeah, we'll see you not on the next one. But well, yeah, just enjoying the summer. We've had some very nice weather here. Not too hot, not too cold. A little too dry, but the fires have subsided, which is a good thing. Although there are burn bans in place where I can't just spark up a campfire and sit under the stars all night because yeah, there's generally a burn ban around here right now. What else was on my mind? Just that bit about the music. The trend AI is kind of a big thing. It's sort of forming as we speak. It's early to tell the benefit versus the drawbacks of it. So I kind of want to watch a little more. I do have opinions on it. Generally, they're not favorable. I just don't like the implications that AI by its nature is is creating a dependence from you towards it. It's taking some of your independent and creative faculties away and giving you basically a product is the way I see it. And it's it's like the more you depend on AI, it's going to steer you towards a way of thinking, which is based on whatever the programmers may happen to desire. Like the idea of teaching AI or training it, I think that's a fallacy. That's not reality. I think it's programmed to agree with you, to kind of suck you in and entice you, so that the more you trust it, the more you see it as your best friend, uh, and you're going to be prone to being swayed by it, whichever way. Like this isn't conspiratorial, but the reality of it is there's programmers and programming behind it, that it's not just this free thinking uh, consciousness. It's lacking that consciousness, I believe, that is unique to humanity. I believe animals have a type of consciousness that differs from ours, but the ability for us to communicate and have language and ponder these things and create, I don't believe AI will ever achieve that on its own without kind of that, the ghost behind in the machine, but more like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, pulling the strings. And so it's if if the powers that be were all benevolent towards us and had nothing but goodwill and our best interests in mind, well, that's fine. But all evidence seems to point to the contrary, that that's the case. And so I'm always questioning, like, what is this unto? So I'll be one of the late adopters to anything AI, just because I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about everything, though. I used to be very, I don't know, not naive, not gullible, but trusting. And except for when it comes to technology, I've been very distrustful. Like Andy has been Andy Edwards, that is, has been talking about, how music is produced and how the industry has changed, and how Spotify has, as one example, has, and streaming has really transformed the way that artists produce, how they get paid. And it's not that the old way was better. In some ways, the old way was much worse. I forget if it was the last live stream or one before. The record executives did a ton of damage to great many artists, just ripping them off. Unethical managers, band managers. There's just so many moving parts. You look at Black Sabbath; they were the biggest band of their day for a period, and they had no idea where their money was going. They were getting paid like $200 a head to fill massive stadiums, and they had no idea they were getting ripped off. Uh, I think whether it was Ozzy or Iommi had said, we're getting picked up in a bus, and all the stagehands and roadies, they're driving in their BMWs and Rolls Royces, and we're scratching our heads thinking, like, what's going on here? Like, we're the talent, we're the act. How come we got to share a vehicle to get to and from the venue, where everybody else is living like kings? So yeah, that was kind of a symptom of the greed of the record labels and the record executives. Like, I don't know if there's a better way. Um, all indie, all indie labels. I mean, now it's kind of democratized the point that everybody is an indie artist. But then, how do you get played? It's almost like we needed to go back to the 1950s and 40s, and and define a business model that would have been more equitable to everybody. So I mean, that's an ideal world. I can be an idealist. Hopefully not an ideologue. Yeah, just the injustices that I've seen towards artists and in the music industry. It's heartbreaking, and just seeing the struggle or the way artists have to adapt nowadays to get the same bang. Well, they probably get more bang for their buck in that it takes very little capital to produce an album. But who's playing your music? How do you get your music on the radio? How do you get your music in front of the masses? That's the missing part. Where the promoters and the record label, they would promote your album. You know, Rolling Stone magazine would be doing interviews with you. You were plastered in front of the whole nation. Like everybody knew your name, even if they had never heard your music. I mean, remember the Beatles? They showed up in America. Nobody even knew what they looked like. Like we didn't have video and the kind of media surrounding bands back in the day, but everybody knew, you know, Peter, Paul, John, and Ringo. Right? It's, or did I say Peter? George. So it's wild, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. Yeah, when I have something to say that's actually compelling, I will invite you back in again. And I think we'll call it a night, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for coming.